There is a reason why some people seem impossible to defeat. It isn't because they are stronger. It isn't because they are richer. And it certainly isn't because they are luckier. It's because they understand one truth that most people overlook. Power grows in silence. The moment you expose everything about yourself, your dreams, your fears, your private battles, you begin to surrender your greatest advantage. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth. Yet when you read his meditations, something remarkable becomes clear. He rarely complained. He rarely sought sympathy. He rarely made himself the center of attention. Instead, he mastered something far more valuable than words. He mastered himself. Today, social media teaches us the opposite. Share everything. Post every success. Announce every goal. Reveal every emotion. But what if that habit is quietly making you weaker? What if every unnecessary word is leaking your confidence, your discipline, and even your future? In this video, you'll discover 5 things every Stoic protects with absolute silence. And by the end, you may never look at conversation the same way again. The ancient Stoics lived in a brutal world. Empires collapsed. Friends became enemies. Power shifted overnight. Survival depended less on physical strength and far more on emotional discipline. The Stoics understood something modern society often forgets. Every word has a cost. Speak carelessly, and you reveal your intentions. Reveal your intentions, and other people begin shaping them. Reveal your weaknesses, and one day someone may use them against you. That is why Stoicism was never about becoming emotionless. It was about becoming intentional. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his deepest thoughts for applause. He wrote them for himself. Seneca didn't chase attention. He chased wisdom. Epictetus taught that before you try to control the world, you must first learn to control your own tongue. Because a careless tongue creates a restless mind. Silence creates clarity. And clarity creates power. Before we continue, if you're someone who values wisdom over noise, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore timeless Stoic principles that help build discipline, resilience, and inner peace in a world filled with distractions. Now let's begin with the first secret. Never reveal your private battles. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that talking about every personal problem will somehow solve it. Most of the time, it doesn't. Imagine standing in the middle of the ocean while bleeding. Would you expect sharks to swim away or swim closer? Human nature isn't very different. Most people are kind. Some are indifferent. And a few are quietly waiting for signs of weakness. When your family falls into conflict, when your relationship begins to crumble, when life feels unbearably heavy, your first instinct is often to speak, to vent, to search for sympathy, to hope someone will tell you exactly what you want to hear. But every unnecessary confession comes with a hidden price. The more people know about your private chaos, the less stable you appear. Whether that's fair or unfair doesn't matter. People naturally judge confidence by consistency. A leader who constantly broadcasts personal turmoil slowly loses authority. Not because suffering is shameful, but because discipline becomes invisible. Marcus Aurelius buried children. He endured betrayal. He ruled through plague and endless war. Yet history remembers his composure, not his complaints.
His battles lived inside his journal, not inside public conversations.
That wasn't emotional suppression. It was emotional mastery. A Stoic asks one simple question before speaking. Will these words improve the situation, or merely lighten my emotions for a few moments? Most of the time, the answer is obvious. Silence is not denial. Silence is preparation. Fix your life quietly. Let your results tell the story. Now let's move to the second secret. Never reveal your deepest insecurities. There is a silent battle every human being fights. A battle that no one else can see. The fear of not being enough. The fear of failure. The fear of rejection. Even Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, questioned himself. But there is a tremendous difference between acknowledging your fears and advertising them. Modern culture tells you to be completely vulnerable. Tell everyone your truth. Expose every scar. It sounds noble, but wisdom asks a different question. To whom? Not everyone deserves access to your inner world, because not everyone who listens with compassion. Some listen with curiosity, some with comparison, and a few listen only to discover where you are easiest to break. Epictetus warned that suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. Now imagine what happens when your own fears are repeated back to you by other people. I don't think I'm confident enough. I always ruin relationships. I'm terrible under pressure. At first, they're only passing thoughts. But once they're spoken often enough, they become your identity. The world begins to believe them. And eventually, so do you. The Stoics understood something that modern psychology now confirms. The stories you repeat become the person you become. That is why disciplined people choose their words carefully, not because they deny fear, but because they refuse to let fear define them. A warrior never points to the weakest part of his armor before entering battle. Why should you? Instead, face your fears privately. Write them down. Study them. Challenge them. Transform them through action, not through endless conversation. There is strength in carrying your burden with dignity, not because asking for help is weakness, but because wisdom knows the difference between seeking guidance and seeking validation. If you truly need advice, find someone whose life reflects the results you want. A mentor, not a crowd. Crowds rarely build character. They build confusion. The next time you feel the urge to tell the world everything that scares you, pause. Ask yourself one question. Am I solving the problem? Or simply describing it? The answer may change your life. Real confidence isn't built by talking about courage. It's built by acting, while no one knows you were afraid. Now let's move to the third secret. Never reveal your plans before they become reality. There is an old saying that has survived for thousands of years. The fish dies because it opens its mouth. Most people think this saying is only about keeping secrets, but they miss the deeper lesson. Words have the power to weaken action. Have you ever noticed how excited you feel after telling someone about your next big goal? Maybe you're starting a business, writing a book, transforming your body, or leaving a career that no longer fulfills you. For a brief moment, you feel unstoppable. People congratulate you. They admire your ambition. They tell you you're going to make it. And strangely, your motivation begins to disappear. It feels as though part of the journey has already been completed. Modern neuroscience offers an explanation. When you publicly announce an important goal, your brain rewards you immediately. It releases dopamine before you've earned it. The satisfaction arrives before the sacrifice. Your mind mistakes intention for achievement. Little by little, the hunger that once pushed you forward begins to fade. The Stoics understood this long before neuroscience gave it a name. They believed character is measured not by promises, but by actions. Marcus Aurelius rarely spoke about what he intended to become. Instead, he focused on what he needed to do today. Because tomorrow belongs to fortune. But today's discipline belongs to you. There is another danger, one that is even more destructive. The moment you reveal your plans, you invite the opinions of people who were never meant to shape your destiny. Some will doubt you. Others will disguise their fear as practical advice. Maybe you're aiming too high. Perhaps now isn't the right time. Be realistic. Most of them don't intend to destroy your dream. They simply project their own limitations onto your future. And if your conviction is still fragile, those words can quietly become chains. The Stoics had a different philosophy. Work quietly. Improve privately. Let your success make the announcement. An eagle doesn't warn the mountain before it takes flight. It simply rises. Imagine walking into a room 1 year from today without explaining anything, without making excuses, without announcing your intentions. Your work speaks first. Your discipline speaks louder than your voice. That is real confidence. Not the confidence that demands attention, but the confidence that no longer needs it. If your dream is truly important, protect it, like a flame shielded from the wind. Speak less, build more, disappear if necessary. Then one day, return with results that leave people speechless. Because the loudest victory has always been the one nobody saw coming. Now, let's move to the fourth secret. Never announce your kindness. There is a quiet temptation that has destroyed the character of many good people. The desire to be seen doing good. At first, it feels harmless. You help a stranger, support a friend, give without expecting anything in return. But then, a subtle voice whispers inside your mind. Tell someone. Post it. Let people know who you are. There is a quiet temptation that has destroyed the character of many good people. The desire to be seen doing good. At first, it feels harmless. You help a stranger, support a friend, give without expecting anything in return. Then a quiet voice begins to whisper. Tell someone. Post it. Let people know what you did. Without realizing it, your kindness slowly becomes a performance instead of a virtue. The Stoics believed that goodness loses its purity the moment it seeks applause. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the eye does not expect praise simply for seeing. The feet do not demand recognition for carrying the body. They fulfill their purpose because it is their nature. The same should be true for you. True generosity asks for nothing. Not admiration, not gratitude, not attention. When every good deed becomes a public announcement, something inside you begins to change. You stop helping because it is right. You begin helping because someone might be watching. That is no longer virtue. It becomes a negotiation for approval. The modern world rewards visibility. Algorithms reward attention. Social media rewards performance. But wisdom has never followed algorithms. History rarely remembers the people who spoke the loudest. It remembers those whose actions quietly changed lives. Imagine two men. One records every act of generosity. The other helps in silence and walks away without expecting anyone to know his name. Which of those two men possesses greater freedom? The answer is obvious. One depends on applause. The other depends only on his principles. That is why Stoicism teaches that the greatest victories often happen where no audience exists. Help because it is right. Forgive because your soul deserves peace. Serve because excellence has become your identity, not your advertisement. Let your reputation be built by whispers, not by self-promotion. Because people who truly possess strength never feel the need to announce it. When someone shares a secret with you, they are giving you something invisible, yet incredibly valuable. Their confidence, their vulnerability, their belief that you are safe. The moment you repeat those words to impress someone else, gain attention, or simply entertain a crowd, you lose something much greater than their trust. You lose your own character. The Stoics believed that a person's words reveal more about them than all of their achievements combined. A person who constantly talks about the private lives of others quietly tells the world, "I cannot be trusted." People remember that. Maybe not immediately, but eventually everyone notices. Successful people, disciplined people, wise people, they all look for the same quality: discretion. Because information is power, and power belongs to those who know exactly when to remain silent. Marcus Aurelius surrounded himself with advisors whose loyalty mattered more than popularity. He understood that kingdoms are not destroyed only by invading armies. Sometimes they fall because one careless conversation opened the wrong door. Imagine becoming the person everyone feels completely safe around. Not because you always know the right words, but because what enters your ears never leaves your mouth. That kind of reputation cannot be purchased. It is earned, one conversation at a time. Guard the trust that others place in you. Protect it as carefully as you protect your own name. Because once people know their secrets are safe with you, they begin offering something even more valuable than information: opportunity, respect, loyalty. Those are the true currencies of a meaningful life. If you've listened this far, you've probably realized something important. This video was never really about silence. It was about self-mastery. Silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of discipline. Every unnecessary sentence has a cost. Sometimes it costs respect. Sometimes it costs opportunity. Sometimes it costs your future. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Perhaps one of the greatest ways to exercise that power is by mastering the words you choose not to speak. Every single day, life offers you a choice. Seek attention or seek growth. Seek applause or seek excellence. Seek comfort or seek character. The decision has always been yours. Before you leave, I'd like to ask you one question. Which of these 5 Stoic lessons do you believe is the hardest to practice in today's world? Protecting your private struggles? Keeping your insecurities to yourself? Remaining silent about your goals? Doing good without seeking recognition? Or protecting the trust of others? Leave your answer in the comments below. I genuinely love to know which lesson challenged you the most. And if this video helped you see Stoicism from a different perspective, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore timeless wisdom that helps you build discipline, clarity, and inner strength in a noisy world. Until next time, protect your peace, guard your mind, and remember, not every battle needs an audience.